The white silk of my wedding dress feels like a straitjacket, and the chapel's stained glass casts blood-red shadows across the aisle. I should be floating on air, radiating joy, all that fairy tale nonsense. Instead, I'm scanning the faces in the pews like a soldier checking for snipers. That's when I see her. Lisa, my mother, 8 years of silence shattered by her uninvited presence in the back row. Ava, James whispers beside me, his hand tightening around mine. You okay? I force my lips into what I hope passes for a smile. Perfect. The minister drones on about sacred unions and eternal love, but all I can focus on is her face. Older now, but still wearing that practiced look of innocence that fooled so many people for so long, including me, until that night when I was 16 and came home to find her gone, along with our savings and my college fund. Derek's there too, of course, her latest husband sitting next to her with his perfectly tailored suit and shark smile. Behind them, Madison, my half-sister, who got to keep her mother while I lost mine, stares at her phone, probably documenting my special day for her social media followers. If anyone knows any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, my heart stops. This would be exactly her style, turning my wedding into her stage. But she stays quiet, for now. The ceremony continues, and I say my vows on autopilot, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. James beams at me, completely oblivious to the storm brewing in the back of the church. My Uncle Michael, standing in as father of the bride, keeps shooting worried glances toward Lisa. He knows. He remembers everything. At the reception, I manage to avoid her for exactly 43 minutes before she corners me near the bathroom. My beautiful girl, she says, reaching for my face. I step back, bumping into the wall. I've missed you so much. Funny way of showing it. My voice comes out steady, practiced. I've rehearsed this moment countless times in my head. I know I made mistakes. Mistakes? I cut her off. Is that what we're calling abandonment these days? Her eyes well up with tears. They look genuine, but I learned long ago that everything about Lisa Thompson is carefully crafted for maximum effect. I was sick, Eva. The addiction. Save it for your next mark. I move to push past her, but she grabs my arm. We need your help, she whispers urgently. Derek's business. There are some problems. Just a temporary loan. A laugh bubbles up from my chest, sharp and bitter. There it is, 8 years of nothing, and you show up at my wedding asking for money? It's not like that. Everything okay here? James appears at my side, all-concerned husband and protective smiles. Fine, I say, extracting myself from Lisa's grip. My mother was just leaving. Eva, please. But I'm already walking away, James's arm around my waist, steadying me. We make it halfway across the reception hall before Derek intercepts us. Quite a success story you've become, he says smoothly. Senior analyst at Bennett Enterprises, Sophie Bennett's protege. Must be nice, having everything handed to you. The threat in his words is subtle, but clear. He knows something, or thinks he does, about my position at Bennett. Nothing was handed to me, I reply. Unlike some people, I actually earned my place. His smile doesn't waver, but his eyes harden. We should catch up sometime. Family dinner, perhaps? There's so much to discuss. As he walks away, James squeezes my hand. Who was that? I watch Derek rejoin Lisa and Madison, their perfect little family unit. Nobody important, I lie. Just someone who's about to learn a very expensive lesson about karma. The crystal champagne glass in my hand threatens to crack under my grip. 8 years I've spent building myself up from nothing, creating a life they can't touch. If they think they can waltz back in and tear it all down, they're about to discover exactly how much I learned from Lisa's masterclass in manipulation. Game on, mother. Game on. The honeymoon photos mock me from my desk. James and I smiling on sun-drenched beaches, pretending the world hasn't tilted off its axis. 3 weeks of paradise, and now I'm back at Bennett Enterprises, staring at an email that makes my stomach turn. Did you see this? Karen appears at my cubicle, waving her phone. Derek Lawson just got appointed as external financial consultant. My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips. What? Sophie announced it this morning. Apparently, he's some hotshot from Morgan Stanley. She leans closer, lowering her voice. Isn't he your stepfather? I cut her off. As of 8 years ago. The office suddenly feels too small, too exposed. I pull up the company-wide announcement, scanning the details. Derek's smug corporate headshot stares back at me, his credentials listed like battle honors. My phone buzzes, a text from Lisa. Isn't it wonderful? Now we can be a proper family again. I delete it without responding. Ava? Sophie Bennett's voice makes me jump. She stands in her signature power suit, radiating authority. Got a minute? In her corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows frame the city skyline. She settles behind her desk, studying me with those razor-sharp eyes that missed nothing during my meteoric rise from intern to senior analyst. Derek Lawson speaks highly of you, she says. Does he? Says you're brilliant, driven. She pauses. Family. Former family, I correct her. We're not close. Shame. Family connections can be invaluable in this business. She slides a folder across her desk. I'm putting you two on the Meridian merger. It's a career maker, Ava. 8 figures minimum. My throat tightens. Sophie, I don't think... Is there a problem? Yes, I want to scream. He's a snake. He's using you. He's here to destroy everything I've built. Instead, I smile. No problem at all. Later, in the parking garage, I find him waiting by my car. Quite the coincidence, I say, gripping my keys like brass knuckles. Hardly. Derek straightens his Italian silk tie. You've made quite a name for yourself here. The golden child, Sophie's protege. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Your mother's so proud. What do you want? Want? I'm here to work, same as you. He steps closer. Though I did notice some irregularities in the quarterly reports you prepared. Nothing major, yet. Ice spreads through my veins. Are you threatening me? Threatening? No. Just looking out for family. He produces a business card. Have dinner with us tonight. Lisa's cooking. We can discuss your future at Bennett. I stare at the card until it blurs. And if I refuse? Then I might have to take a closer look at those reports. Mistakes happen after all, especially when someone's risen so quickly, perhaps, cutting corners along the way. My phone rings. James, probably wondering why I'm late. I let it go to voicemail. 7 o'clock, Derek says, turning away. Don't be late. Family dinner waits for no one. I wait until he's gone before calling Michael. They're back, I say when he answers, and they're not just asking for money anymore. My uncle's silence speaks volumes. Finally, what do you need? Remember those papers Mom left behind? The ones you said I wasn't ready to see? Eva, I'm ready now. Another pause. Come over. There's something you need to know about the night she left. I end the call, my reflection in the car window looking stranger by the second. 8 years ago, I was a scared teenager watching my world implode. Now I'm a weapon, honed by abandonment and betrayal. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Lisa. Made your favorite pot roast, just like old times. Old times. Like when she cleaned out my college fund for Derek's investment opportunity, or when she disappeared while I was at soccer practice, leaving nothing but a note saying she needed to find herself. I start my car, decision made. Let them think they have me cornered. Let them believe I'm that same vulnerable girl they can manipulate and discard. I've learned a few things about power plays and leverage since then, and by the time this game is over, they'll wish they'd never heard the name Bennett Enterprises. Or mine. Uncle Michael's basement smells like old paper and regret. He spreads documents across his workbench while I pace, my heels clicking against concrete. Your mother wasn't just an addict, he says, hands trembling as he sorts through yellowed papers. She was a witness. The words hit like a slap. A witness to what? Financial fraud at her old firm. He pulls out a thick manila envelope. Derek wasn't just her rehab romance. He was handling the cover-up. My world tilts sideways. And you're just telling me this now? I tried to protect you. He won't meet my eyes. The less you knew, the safer I was. I snatched the envelope. Inside, bank statements show transfers, hundreds of thousands flowing through shell companies. This is why she left? Derek convinced her to take the fall, said he'd take care of her. Michael's laugh is bitter. Instead, he used the evidence to control her, keep her close. My phone buzzes, a text from James. Working late again? I ignore it, studying a familiar signature on one of the documents. Sophie Bennett signed off on these transfers. Michael goes still. Eva, she knew, all this time. The pieces click into place. My miraculous hire straight out of college, my rapid promotions. I wasn't her protege. I was insurance. The basement suddenly feels like a tomb. I stuff the papers into my bag, already moving toward the stairs. Where are you going? Family dinner, I say. Wouldn't want to keep them waiting. Lisa's house is exactly what you'd expect. All nouveau riche pretension and desperate attempts at elegance. Madison opens the door, her teenager's disdain barely masking curiosity. Mom's in the kitchen, she says, having one of her moments. I find Lisa clutching a wine glass, mascara smeared. Ava, you came. She moves to hug me, but I step back. Where's Derek? Working late, always working. She giggles, unsteady. But we can have girl time? Like before you abandoned me? The words slice through her artificial cheer. Or before you let Derek use you to cover up his fraud. The wine glass slips from her hand, shattering. Madison appears in the doorway, eyes wide. You don't understand, Lisa whispers. He said he'd protect us. He protected himself, used you as a patsy, then kept the evidence to keep you in line. I pull out the documents. Just like he's trying to do to me at Bennett. Madison moves closer, reading over my shoulder. Mom, what is this? Nothing, sweetie. Adult things. Stop lying, I snap. For once in your life, tell the truth. Lisa crumples into a kitchen chair. Derek said, he said if I played along, we'd be set for life. But then the demands kept coming. More money, more cover-ups. And Sophie Bennett? Was she part of it? She knew about everything. Lisa's laugh is hollow. Why do you think she hired you? Madison grabs the papers, face hardening as she reads. These dates. This was right before you sent me to boarding school. Maddie, please. You said we couldn't afford for me to stay home, but you were moving millions? The front door opens. Derek's voice carries from the foyer. Something smells fantastic. Lisa freezes. Madison shoves the papers back at me, eyes blazing. Do it, she whispers. Take him down. I stuff the evidence away as Derek enters, all corporate charm and calculated warmth. Eva, and here I thought you'd skip our little reunion. Wouldn't dream of it. I smile, channeling 8 years of rage into something sharper. We have so much to discuss. He pauses, noting Lisa's tears, Madison's glare, the broken glass. His mask slips for just a moment, revealing something cold and calculating. Indeed, we do. He straightens his tie, a tell I remember from childhood when he was about to deliver bad news. In fact, I just finished reviewing those reports I mentioned. Found some very interesting discrepancies. Funny, I say. So did I. We stare each other down across Lisa's pristine kitchen, the air thick with unspoken threats. Madison slides closer to me, a silent allegiance shift that doesn't go unnoticed. Careful, Ava, Derek says softly. Some games are too dangerous to play. Good thing I learned from the best. I head for the door, pausing beside him. By the way, Sophie sends her regards. His sharp intake of breath is all the confirmation I need. The game isn't just dangerous anymore, it's lethal. Karen's apartment feels like neutral territory at 3 in the morning. Empty wine bottles litter her coffee table while I spread out Uncle Michael's documents like battlefield maps. So, Sophie Bennett hired you to keep tabs on Derek, Karen says, highlighting another suspicious transaction. But who's keeping tabs on Sophie? My wedding ring catches the lamplight as I reach for more papers. James hasn't asked where I've been these past nights. Maybe he doesn't want to know. Madison sent me more files, I say, unlocking my phone. Apparently, Derek's not as careful with his passwords at home. Your teenage sister is hacking your stepfather's computer? Karen arches an eyebrow. That's either brilliant or terrifying. Both. I pull up the emails Madison forwarded. Look at these dates. The week Mom left, there were 3 transfers to offshore accounts. But the signatures? Karen leans closer. That's not Derek's. It's Sophie's. My hands shake as I match the signatures. She wasn't just covering for him. She was profiting. My phone buzzes. A text from Madison. Dad's meeting Sophie tomorrow night. Overheard him talking. The Golden Crown Hotel, 8 p.m. Another buzz. James, coming to bed tonight? I silence the phone. Eva. Karen's voice has that careful tone friends use before delivering uncomfortable truths. What happens when this all comes out? To your job? Your marriage? Before I can answer, there's a knock at the door. We freeze, sharing a panicked look. It's past 3. No one should be here. Karen peers through the peephole, then steps back like she's been burned. It's your mother. Lisa stands in the hallway, mascara streaked down her face. I know what you're planning, she says when I open the door. Derek will destroy you. Like he destroyed you? She flinches. You don't understand. Sophie, she's not what you think. None of this is what you think. Then enlighten me. I can't. Her hands twist together, a nervous habit I'd forgotten. But please, Eva, stop digging, for your own sake. My sake? I laugh, the sound sharp enough to cut. Where was this maternal concern when you cleaned out my college fund? When you left me with nothing but a post-it note goodbye? I left you with Michael because he could protect you. She's crying now, mascara running darker. Derek had evidence that could have sent me to prison. Sophie offered a deal, my silence for your future. Karen shifts behind me, a silent witness to our family's implosion. What evidence? I demand. Ask your uncle. Lisa wipes her eyes, leaving black smears. Ask him about the night of the audit, about what really happened to those missing files. My stomach drops. Uncle Michael wasn't involved? Everyone was involved, Eva. That's how they keep us quiet. We all have something to lose. She reaches for my hand, but I pull back. Please, don't make the same mistakes I did. After she leaves, Karen and I stare at the documents scattered across her floor. They don't look like justice anymore. They look like ammunition in a war I didn't know I was fighting. My phone lights up. Another text from Madison. Dad's deleting files. Lots of them. Something about Bennett Enterprises' quarterly audit. Then James. Should I be worried? And finally, Sophie. My office 7 a.m. tomorrow. We need to discuss your future with the company. What are you going to do? Karen asks. I gather the papers, my mind racing through scenarios like chess moves. Uncle Michael's involvement changes everything. Or maybe it changes nothing. Maybe this was always going to end in scorched earth and broken families. I'm going to that hotel tomorrow night, I say, and I'm going to record every word Derek and Sophie say. Eva, but first, I continue, pulling out my laptop, I'm going to make copies of everything, send them to every news outlet and regulatory agency I can find. That's suicide, career-wise at least. Maybe. I start typing, my fingers steady despite everything. But I learned from the best. You don't just plan revenge, you plan for every possible way it can backfire. Karen watches me work, her expression caught between admiration and fear. And James, your marriage? I pause, wedding ring suddenly heavy on my finger. Some things break no matter how carefully you hold them. The sun is rising by the time I finish, casting long shadows across Karen's apartment. They look like prison bars, or maybe that's just my guilty conscience talking. Either way, by this time tomorrow, everyone's carefully constructed lies will be exposed to the light, including mine. The Golden Crown Hotel's bar feels like a trap, but I'm the one who said it. I nurse a martini, watching Derek and Sophie through the reflection in my phone screen as they settle into a corner booth. The recording app blinks steadily, catching every word. The board meeting's been moved up, Sophie says, her voice carrying just enough. We need to accelerate the timeline. Derek's response is lost in the ambient noise, but his expression tells enough. Barely contained panic beneath that polished exterior. My phone vibrates. Madison, Mom found the copied files. She's freaking out. Then immediately after, she's calling Uncle Michael. My hands start to shake. This wasn't part of the plan. Miss Thompson? A server appears at my elbow. Phone call for you at the front desk. I know before I answer. Ava. Michael's voice is tight with fury. What have you done? What you should have done years ago. You have no idea what you're playing with. Where are you? I hang up, but the damage is done. In the corner booth, Derek is staring directly at me, his face a mask of calculated consideration. He whispers something to Sophie, who turns. Their eyes lock onto me like crosshairs. My phone buzzes again. James this time. We need to talk. I found the divorce papers in your desk. The walls start closing in. I head for the exit, but Sophie intercepts me near the lobby. You really are your mother's daughter, she says, voice dripping with false concern. So quick to burn everything down without understanding the full picture. I understand enough. Do you? She steps closer. Did you know your uncle was the one who suggested using Lisa as the scapegoat? That he orchestrated her addiction to make her more controllable? The floor seems to tilt. You're lying. Am I? Ask him about the prescription pads, about the doctors he paid off. Her smile is razor sharp. We all make choices, Eva. Your mother chose drugs over you because Michael made sure that was her only escape. Ava, Derek's voice cuts through the lobby. He's approaching fast, phone in hand. I run. The night air hits like a slap. I make it 3 blocks before ducking into an alley, trying to breathe through the panic. My phone won't stop buzzing. Madison, Dad's calling the police. Karen, your office is being searched. James, please come home. We can fix this. Michael, you're making it worse. Lisa, I'm so sorry, baby. The last one breaks something inside me. I dial Karen. They're moving the evidence, I say when she answers. All of it, tonight. Ava, stop. You need to think. I am thinking. For the first time, I'm seeing everything clearly. I start walking, purpose replacing panic. Remember that contingency plan we discussed? Silence. Then, the nuclear option? Eva, that'll destroy everyone, including you. They destroyed me 8 years ago. I'm just returning the favor. I end the call and open my email. The draft is already prepared. Every document, every recording, every piece of evidence sent to journalists, federal investigators, and the board of directors. One button and it all burns down. My finger hovers over send when another text appears. Madison, I found something else, something worse. Meet me at the office. I stare at the message, remembering Sophie's words about choices and consequences, about being my mother's daughter. The office building is dark when I arrive, but Madison's waiting in the lobby. She looks smaller somehow, more vulnerable than her usual teenage bravado. Before I show you, she says, you have to promise me something. What? Promise you won't let Dad hurt Mom again, no matter what's on these files. My throat tightens. Madison, promise me. Her voice cracks, because after you see this, everything changes, and I need to know someone's going to protect her this time. I think about Lisa's tear-stained face in Karen's hallway, about Michael's betrayal, about James finding divorce papers I don't remember drafting. I promise. Madison hands me a USB drive, her hands trembling. Dad wasn't just embezzling money, he was laundering it for people who... She swallows hard. People who make problems disappear. The elevator dings behind us. We both turn to see Derek step out, flanked by 2 men I don't recognize. Madison, he says softly, go wait in the car. She grabs my hand, squeezing once before letting go. A warning, a goodbye, a choice. I grip the USB drive tighter and reach for my phone. Time to see who burns first. The Bennett Enterprises annual gala feels like a funeral where everyone's still pretending to smile. I watch from the mezzanine as Derek works the room below, champagne in hand, playing the charming new consultant while his men search my office 17 floors up. The USB drive burns in my clutch bag. 1 copy uploaded, 1 held back, insurance against whatever comes next. Quite the turnout. Sophie appears beside me, elegant in black. Shame it has to end this way. Does it? You made your choice when you sent those files to the FBI? She sips her champagne, though I admit, I'm curious which version they received. My phone vibrates. Madison. Mom's gone. The house is empty. Then Karen. James is here, looking for you. You know what fascinates me about you, Ava? Sophie continues. You're so focused on revenge, you never asked why I really hired you. The pieces click together too late. Below, I spot James entering the ballroom, followed by Uncle Michael. The trap closes like a noose. Because I wasn't the target, I say. I was the bait. Smart girl, always were. Sophie's smile turns predatory. Your mother wasn't the only one Derek betrayed 8 years ago, but she was the only one stupid enough to leave a paper trail. The ballroom spins slightly. The money laundering? Among other things, we needed someone close to him, someone with the right motivation for revenge. She gestures at the crowd below. Someone who could get him to expose himself without realizing he was being played. My phone buzzes again. An unknown number. Your mother is safe, for now. Where is she? My voice cracks. Consider her insurance against whatever else you might have planned. Sophie takes my clutch, removes the USB drive. You've served your purpose, Eva. Don't ruin it by trying to be a hero. Below, Derek spots me. Our eyes meet across the crowded room. He smiles and raises his glass in a mock toast. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice carries over the crowd. If I could have your attention. Right on schedule, Sophie murmurs. Derek approaches the podium, straightening his tie. As many of you know, Bennett Enterprises has been like family to me these past months, which makes this next announcement particularly difficult. My heart pounds as he pulls out a folder. It seems we've discovered some concerning irregularities in our financial records, specifically unauthorized transfers and manipulated audit reports. He pauses for effect, all traced back to one individual. The crowd murmurs. James looks up, finding me on the mezzanine. His face shows nothing but disappointment. Ava Thompson, Derek continues, would you join me down here? Sophie's hand clamps around my arm. Play your part, she whispers, or Lisa pays the price. The walk down the stairs feels endless. Every face turns to watch. Every whisper carries judgment. 8 years of building myself up, reduced to ashes in 8 seconds. Ava has been with us for 3 years, Derek says, voice heavy with false regret. Rising quickly through the ranks, perhaps too quickly. He hands me the folder. Inside, perfect forgeries of my signature on dozens of fraudulent documents. My own revenge plot, twisted and turned back on me. Would you like to explain yourself? Derek asks. Or shall I? The room blurs. Through the crowd, I see Uncle Michael slip away, phone to his ear. James won't meet my eyes. Somewhere upstairs, Derek's men are probably planting more evidence in my office. My phone buzzes one last time. Madison. Found Mom, Warehouse District. Hurry. Well, Derek prompts. I look up at Sophie, still watching from the mezzanine, at James, already turning away, at the career I built, the revenge I planned, the life I thought I could protect, all of it crumbling like sand. But Madison's text blinks on my phone screen. A choice, a chance. I step up to the microphone. You're right, I say, voice steady. I did manipulate the records. Derek's triumph shows for just a second. I did it to expose something much bigger. I pull out my phone, thumb hovering over send. Would you like to explain yourself, Derek? Or shall I? His smile freezes. In the crowd, James finally looks at me, really looks at me, and something like understanding crosses his face. Sometimes, I realize, you have to lose everything to find out what you're really fighting for. I press send, let it burn. The warehouse district feels like a graveyard at midnight. Rain slicks the pavement as I follow Madison's coordinates, the gala's chaos still echoing in my head. Police sirens wail in the distance, Derek's empire crumbling in real time as my evidence spreads like wildfire. I find Lisa in the third building, handcuffed to a pipe. Her mascara-stained face jerks up at my footsteps. Ava? Her voice cracks. You shouldn't be here. Neither should you. I move to unlock the cuffs, but her next words freeze me. Sophie's men are coming. You need to go. Sophie's men? The pieces shift again. Not Derek's? A slow clap echoes through the warehouse. Sophie emerges from the shadows, still wearing her gala dress. Predictable to the end, she says, just like your mother. Movement behind me, 2 men blocking the exit. Through the high windows, I see more figures circling the building. You played us both, I say, Derek and me. I played everyone. Sophie's heels click against concrete as she approaches. Derek was useful until he got greedy. You were useful until you got righteous. And Lisa? She glances at my mother. She was useful until she grew a conscience 8 years ago and threatened to expose everything. The money laundering wasn't Derek's operation, Lisa says quietly. It was hers, always was. My phone buzzes. Madison. Police coming. 2 minutes. You know what your problem is, Eva? Sophie continues. You thought this was about family, about revenge. It was always about power. She pulls out a gun, and powerful people protect their interests. Ava, run! Lisa struggles against the handcuffs, but I stand my ground. Check your phone, Sophie. Excuse me? The evidence I sent, it wasn't just about Derek. Check your phone. She doesn't, but I see the first flicker of uncertainty. Right now, every financial regulator, federal agent, and news outlet is receiving 8 years of transaction records, not Derek's records. I take a step forward. Yours. You're bluffing. Madison's been in your system for weeks. While you were so focused on manipulating me, a teenager cracked your empire wide open. Sirens grow closer. Sophie's men shift nervously. Even if that's true, Sophie raises the gun. Dead whistleblowers tell no tales, but their dead man switches do. I pull out my phone, show her the screen. One button, Sophie, one button, and every dirty secret you buried goes straight to Interpol. You'd destroy yourself too, your career, your reputation. Already destroyed. I laugh, and it sounds like breaking glass. You taught me that, remember? Sometimes you have to burn everything down to build something new. The warehouse doors burst open, but it's not the police. It's Derek. Sorry, I'm late. He's disheveled, desperate. Traffic was murder. What with all those federal agents at the gala? Derek, Sophie warns, don't. Shut up. He pulls out his own gun. 8 years I cleaned up your messes, kept your secrets, and you were going to pin it all on me? The student becomes the master, I say quietly. Sophie's composure cracks. You orchestrated this, all of it. No, I move toward Lisa, keeping my movements slow. You did. You all did. I reach my mother, start working on her cuffs. I just stopped playing by your rules. Police sirens scream outside. Flashlights sweep the windows. This is the FBI. Building is surrounded. Derek laughs, a broken, hollow sound. Well played, kid. Well played. Sophie turns the gun on him. He keeps his trained on her. They're both so focused on each other, they don't see Lisa slip free of the cuffs. They don't see her tackle Sophie as the FBI breaches the door. They don't see me hit the dead man's switch anyway, because some fires need to burn everything. Later, as federal agents lead everyone away, Madison finds me sitting on the warehouse steps. Mom okay? She asks, being checked out by paramedics. I stare at my phone, dozens of missed calls from James, Karen, Michael. You? Better than them. She nods at Sophie and Derek in handcuffs. Was it worth it? I think about revenge, about justice, about the cost of both, about family, the one that abandoned me, the one that betrayed me, and the sister who helped me burn it all down. Ask me tomorrow, I say. The sun rises over Bennett Enterprises' smoldering ruins, and for the first time in 8 years, I feel clean. The federal courthouse steps feel colder than they should in summer. I watch Sophie and Derek being led out in handcuffs, their empire reduced to headlines and case numbers. Madison stands beside me, her hand finding mine as her father passes. He doesn't look our way. Ready? She asks. I'm not, but I nod anyway. Inside, Uncle Michael waits in an interview room, looking older than I've ever seen him. The federal agents left us alone after he agreed to testify about the prescription pads, about his role in Lisa's addiction. I thought I was protecting you, he says before I can speak. Everything I did was for my own good. The words taste like ash. That's what Mom said too. He flinches. Eva, I found the original prescriptions. I slide them across the table. The ones you wrote before Derek got involved, before Sophie, before everything. His hands shake as he touches the papers. I was trying to help her cope after your father died. She was spiraling. So you decided to control her spiral? The rage feels different now, colder, cleaner. Make it manageable? I loved you both. Love shouldn't leave scars. Madison squeezes my hand. I'd almost forgotten she was there, watching her family's destruction mirror my own. The prosecutors offered me a deal, Michael says. Full immunity if I testify against Sophie's entire operation. Take it. I stand up. Consider it your last act of protection. In the hallway, Karen waits with coffee and courthouse gossip. Lisa's testimony sealed it, she says. Sophie's looking at 20 years minimum. And Derek? 15 unless he flips on his overseas contacts. She studies my face. James called again. The wedding ring feels heavy on my finger. I know. He still loves you. Sometimes love isn't enough. We exit into sunlight that feels too bright for funeral weather, because that's what this is. A funeral for the family I thought I wanted, the revenge I thought I needed, the person I used to be. Lisa sits on a nearby bench, looking small without her designer armor. When she sees us, she stands. The rehab center has an opening, she says. Real one this time, no strings. Good, I mean it. Ava, don't. The word comes out gentler than I expected. Not yet. She nods, understanding what I can't say. That forgiveness, like revenge, has its own timeline. Madison releases my hand. I should go with her. Make sure. I know. I hug her. My sister, my conscience, my unexpected ally in burning down our shared heritage. Call me when you're settled. Someone has to keep you honest. She manages a smile. Try not to destroy any more corporations while I'm gone. The joke lands wrong, but we pretend it doesn't. Karen touches my arm. Your place or mine? Neither. I check my phone. One last message from James. When you're ready. But I'm not ready. Not for James's forgiveness or Lisa's redemption or Michael's justifications. Not for rebuilding from ashes. I'm still creating. I need to make one more stop. Bennett Enterprises stands empty, its windows dark. Security lets me in. They haven't changed the codes yet. My office is exactly as I left it the night of the gala, except for one thing. On my desk sits a single envelope. Inside, a key and a note in Sophie's handwriting. For when you realize power and revenge are the same thing, the position is yours if you want it. S. I think about 8 years of pain, of choices made by others, of protection that felt like prison, about Madison finding her strength, Lisa finding her voice, James finding his limits, about Sophie teaching her final lesson from behind bars. The key feels warm in my palm, a door to another version of myself, another cycle of power and revenge. I leave it on the desk. Outside, Karen waits in her car. Where to? I look at the building one last time, at all it represents: ambition, corruption, the seductive pull of justified vengeance. Anywhere, I say, as long as it's forward. She starts the engine, and we drive away from the wreckage of my carefully planned revenge towards something that feels less like victory and more like freedom. Some fires don't need to be rebuilt from. Some just need to be left behind.